coaches to save them arms moving forward because Mingo Central had a game last night at Van that they won. They're at Chapmanville tonight. Man went on the road last night, won at Westside 13-3, and they're here this evening against Charleston Catholic. So that decision to play two 5-inning games saved a bunch of arms for not only the Miners, but the Hillbillies as well.
Yeah, man needs those arms when they're coming into the sectional time. As Bill, you got some updates on the sectional tournament play as man is what we would thought be the 1 seed going into their sectional. From what you've told me, they're not the number 1 seed. They're actually the number 2 seed. So right there being a number 2 seed, you basically got to play behind, like what would you call an 8-ball, and not having that home field advantage throughout the sectional tournament. And Buffalo being the number 1 seed, man, if they was to get into the winner's bracket, continue on, they'd have to go to Buffalo if everything falls into line with Man and Buffalo meeting now down in Buffalo, Putnam County, which is a very tough county to play sports in. But Man feels like they can get the job done. But right now, what way to build momentum going into the sectional is by beating Charleston Catholic here tonight. And Man does have the capability of beating Charleston Catholic. They got to play perfect ball, and they can't afford any mishaps.
Yeah, I mean, you beat Charleston Catholic. I mean, obviously there'll be a lot of attention postseason because Man's got that number next to their name in the rankings. They're number 7. But to get that win over Catholic, I put the rest of the state on alert that this team is pretty good, and the schedule that they've played is helping them down the stretch, especially in the tournament time. Man, one of the toughest schedules in the state of West Virginia. But, Daniel, as you mentioned it, it was puzzling to me when I messaged Coach Crosby Wednesday morning about the sectional seeds, and he, sent them back to me, and I seen the seeds, and had Buffalo won. I was just as shocked as Coach Crosby and Man was. I didn't quite understand why the Hillbillies didn't get the 1 seed, why they were the number 2 when they're the only team in the section that has a winning record. Now, obviously, they're ranked 4th in the region behind Buffalo, who's 3, Ravenswood 2, and obviously Wahama, rightfully so, number 1. Ravenswood, that's a team that's been in the top 10, and I don't know if they're better than Man. I don't know if Man's better than them. We may find out we may find out in regional time if both of them can get out of the sectionals. Ravenswood's got a tough task to beat Wahama, but that to me was just a shock when Coach Crosby told me the seeds.
And when it comes to sectional play, it's basically a new season. And it's for every time. That's for every game you play. And football is the only sport in the state of West Virginia that actually matters because you have to play your best every single. At the building, Man played really good throughout the seasons, and they won games that they needed to get into the playoffs. Man only had 3 losses on the year in football, and that was to Logan, Independence, and Fairmont Senior, 3 AA playoff teams. And then Chapmanville, they did their job. They beat Logan, and then they held their own with Scott and got into the playoffs. And just like Logan, they had a very hot start. They ended up losing 3 out of their last 4 final regular season games before they made it to the playoffs as a 16 seed and lost to Winfield. So unlike football, it's a whole new season when you get into the state tournament. You can be undefeated, and all it takes is 1 bad game. Unlike basketball, but it's baseball. All it takes is 2 bad games to send you home, and your season is done.
Unfortunately, and another thing, unfortunately for Logan County, unlike football, they can't send 3 teams to the state baseball tournament as Chapmanville and Logan are in the same section, Class AA Region 4, Section 2, and that gets underway this week. Chapmanville, no surprise, got the number 1 seed. Logan, by virtue of their, I would have to say by virtue of their win over Chapmanville, and their split with Scott, they got the number 2 seed, and then Scott's the number 3 seed. So, more than likely Tuesday night on the island at Roger E. Gertz Field, you have Scott and Logan, more than likely in a rematch of a game that we saw earlier, Griffin Miller and Dawson Maynard on the mound.
Yep, was asking around Logan fans and asking around Logan coaches. That is more likely the matchup they are preparing for. They're preparing for Griffin Miller to be on that mound once again in sectional tournament. That's the first game Logan will have this season. They don't have that luxury of being the 1 seed and drawing a Wayne and Mingo Central winner. Now they got to go out. They got to use their ace right away, which is something Logan hasn't done. This senior class has not done this past season, and these past 2 seasons when they won the state championship. So they got to start out strong. But the way Logan has been playing, Logan feels like they're confident that they can get back to the regionals and actually get back to Charleston and win the whole thing. And that's something that it's going to be hard to do against Logan, is to knock out the defending state champions when they've been there. They've done it, Bill. They've been to the top and they've been to the bottom. They've been to the top winning 2 straight championships, and they've also been to the bottom where they never even got a chance to compete for their truly first state championship due to the COVID pandemic. So that Logan group is on a mission, but you can't count out Chapmanville either. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. They've been hitting great all year. They were lucky to have that 14-game winning streak. They were sad to see it snap, and then they've lost 2 in a row, but then they bounced back against the 2 teams that we're going to see here tonight, against Charleston Catholic down in Charleston Catholic, and then they mercy ruled Man 12-2 at Ted Ellis Field. And you got to turn that sectional. It's going to be murder's row for the top 3, and then it doesn't get any easier with the other side of the region, as Winfield looks like to be the favorite out of that region, but you never know who can come out of that region. It could be a Point Pleasant, Nitro, or Sissonville. Even Polka could sneak one around. You never know. But that region is always, whoever comes out of that region earns it. And Bill, with sectionals coming up, everything's clean. Everybody has a clean slate, and we start brand new, and I cannot wait for that excitement.
Well, Man's last game, this last regular season game for the Man High School Hillbillies, Braxton Messer going on the mound for the Hillbillies. I would probably expect to see Bo Thompson as well get some work in ahead of Tuesday's sectional opener, which will be here at William Tootie Carter Field against the winner of the 3-seed Shermanside and the 6-seed Tulsa Rebels, 2 teams that Man has beat this season. Man 3-0 against Sherman, 2-0 against Tulsa. They're also 2-0 against Tug Valley in the section. They did not play either Buffalo nor Van in the section. Buffalo, despite having a losing record, got the top seed in the sectional tournament, and Buffalo's going to look to carry that on. And when you look at the regional, you mentioned the regionals, Daniel, should these teams advance in the section, unlike softball, the coaches voted on the entire region, and the teams were seed, and the team that was highest in the regional rankings would host games 1 and 3 of the regional tournament. That being Wahama in Class A, Region 4. In order for Man to host the regional, they're going to need to win their section and have Gilmer County, who is seated 5th in the region, to win its section. Then Man would host games 1 and 3 if necessary. Meanwhile, on the other side, Class AA, Region 4, Chapmanville's the number 1 overall seed, Logan number 2. So if either one of those were to win the section, they would host. Winfield is then number 3. Scott checks in at number 4. If the Skyhawks win, they have to have somebody other than Winfield win Section 1 to host games 1 and 3.
That's a very tough outing you put there for all teams in their way to regionals. But first, you got to get out of your section, and nothing is given in sectionals. Everybody feels like the teams to beat are the teams to beat, and if you can't beat them, then you're not going to go far. And you got some tough teams in each section. Man, even though they're undefeated in their sectional play, other than playing Buffalo and Van, they've handled their section pretty well. Only the closest win they've had in their sectional was a 4-3 game down at Sherman, and just like you said, Mike Crosby.
That was a game that went 10 innings.
Yeah, that went extra. Yeah, you're right. It went extra innings. And so nothing is really given in this section. Nothing's given in this regional either. Is whoever comes out of this section, you're more likely going to play a Wahama or Ravenswood team. Last year, Ravenswood almost pulled the upset over Wahama in the sectional championship. That game went the distance, or that sectional tournament went the distance, just like Man. And Wahama was able to hold off Ravenswood to win. And Man ended up having to go to Wahama. It just wasn't a great game. And then back here, they made it more competitive, but Wahama would just show too much. As Bill, that Wahama team went to the state championship, lost on a heartbreaker to this Charleston Catholic team.
Yeah, and they're not the boys are not the only thing going for the Logan County athletics. As got word this morning that the Chapmanville High School girls tennis team qualified for the state tournament, beating Logan, so Logan will get to go as well. No word on the boys. I don't know how they did. I'm going to presume that they went because, our broadcast colleague Chris Kidd, he's had a great season down there. He's got a girls team that could win the state championship in tennis, and he's got a boys team that will compete for the state championship. So we wish him well, as well as Logan.
I might be wrong. I was with Chris Kidd in his class yesterday, and he said something about the boys. I think they may have gotten eliminated by Point Pleasant, is what I can probably remember. He said a lot of his boys, tennis players, were very young, and Point Pleasant were senior heavy. So I think the boys may have got eliminated. I might be wrong, but I remember something like that. But yeah, if still no official update, I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, not only softball and baseball are getting it done on in athletics, but the tennis teams as well. Logan girls are going. Chapmanville girls, like you said, they could win it all. They got to beat a very good Charleston Catholic team in order to do so. So it's going to be interesting in tennis time. I might go down and watch some tennis if I have the time off, as both Logan and Chapmanville tennis teams are looking really good. Bill, you got any words up on man's tennis team?
Coach Washington fielded a team this year. They really, competed out there. I don't know if he had anybody qualified for the state tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to William Tootie Carter Athletic
they went out there
Field
and
for
had,
tonight's 6 p.m. ball game
I'm sure
between
they had
visiting
fun.
Charleston Catholic Irish
Coach
and your
Washington
home,
would say.
Man
But,
High School Hillbillies.
Softball-wise, we've got Logan
First,
in
let's meet
action
the
tonight
visiting
at
team.
Scott.
Batting first
And
will be the
the,
shortstop, number 16,
Class AA
Luke
Region
Blades.
4, Section 2 Winners Bracket Championship. Those are the only two teams without a loss. Logan
Batting
and
second
Scott.
to left fielder,
Game
number
was
3,
supposed to be
Gannon
held at
Morris.
Blaine, but due to the press box collapse
Batting third, the
last
second
Saturday
baseman,
evening
number
at Blaine
6,
High School,
Jonah
they
DeCoco.
decided to have the higher seed host the sectional
Batting
tournament.
fourth, the
That's
catcher,
why
number
Logan is
14,
at Scott this
Zayden
evening.
Ransom.
And Chapmanville is hosting Mingo Central in an elimination
Batting
game
fifth, the
this
third
evening
baseman,
at
number 11,
Ronnie
Jim
Newton Field.
Reynolds.
So the loser of that game goes home. The winner moves on and will take on the
Batting
loser
sixth,
of
the center
Scott
fielder,
and
number 10,
Chapmanville
Gage Tawny.
tomorrow. As for Class A, Region 4, Section
Batting
1,
seventh, the first baseman, number
and
12,
Buffalo
Xander
are
Alara.
the only two teams in the section,
Batting eighth, the
with,
designated hitter, number 29,
that remain
Tyler Brown.
undefeated. So the Lady
He will be
Hillbillies and
batting
the
for
Lady
the right
Bison
fielder,
will play
number 17,
tomorrow
Joseph
here at Man High
Brammer.
School. The winner of that one will have a leg up on the competition. Will have to be beat
And batting
twice.
ninth is
Tug
tonight's
Valley
pitcher,
and
number
Tulsa
27,
playing
Connor
tonight at Tug
Jarvis.
Valley in an elimination game, as well as Van at Sherman in an elimination game. Those two winners meet tomorrow. And then on Saturday, the winner of that contest will take on the loser of the Man and Buffalo game, and see how that plays out.
And that's why being the number 1 seed in the section was always important for
And leading
ball
off for the
clubs.
Hillbillies,
That's why
the
Chapmanville
midfielder,
for
number
baseball
10,
has got
Chase
the
Atkins.
courtesy of being the number 1 seed. They
Batting
got that
second is the third baseman,
luxury.
number 25,
So does
Cam
now
Joyce.
Buffalo for man section, and then you go for
Batting
softball.
third, starting
Scott's
on the
got that
mound, number
luxury,
13,
and then man,
Braxton
they got the luxury now that
Messer.
you have to go through the home fields
Batting fourth,
with
the
the
shortstop,
Region
number
4 and
11,
AA.
Bo
Region
Thompson.
4, Section 2, having to move to home
Batting
sides
fifth
instead of
will be the
actually at
pitcher,
one
number
field.
43,
So both
John
teams,
McCoy.
all county teams they know their way. In order to get to the regionals, they just got to take care of business and get it done. But the only sucky part about it is that Chapmanville and Logan are in the same section. We would love to see all 3 teams make it to regionals, but it just can't happen. But we wish the best of luck for all the teams that are competing in softball and baseball regionals this year, or sectionals this year.
Just about set for baseball here at William Tootie Carter Field between
Miller.
the Maine High School Hillbillies
The rest of the Hillbillies
and
include
the
number
Charleston
14,
Catholic
Gavin
Irish.
Bertram,
As
number
the starting
21,
lineups have
Landon
been
Cantrell,
introduced,
number
and the
12,
reserves are
Braden
being
Compton,
introduced to
number
the
9,
crowd
Jackson
in
Ellis,
attendance here
and number
this
7,
evening.
Casey
So what we're going to do
Painter.
right now is we'll step aside for a quick 2-minute break, and we'll come back. We'll have the starting lineups and first pitch for Charleston Catholic and Man. You're listening to Man Hillbillies Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Welcome back into Men High School Baseball on WVOW. Charleston Catholic, number 2 in Class Single A, and Men High School Hillbillies, number 7 in Class Single A. Our matchup here tonight. Daniel, while the starting pitcher for Man Braxton Mester starts and finishes his warm-up tosses, give us your keys to the game.
Well, the keys to the game are going to be simple and sweet. First, for Man, you got to limit the errors, and you got to be able to hit off of the pitchers that Charleston Catholic is going to throw at you. And when you get on base, you got to take advantage and move those base runners over. You can't have 2 guys on base and then your next 2 batters going down either on a ground out or a pop out or strikeout. You got to be able to move them over in order to beat this tough Charleston Catholic team. For Charleston Catholic, do what you've been doing that you got here. You only have 3 losses on the entire year. Keep the rhythm going. Have the batters keep hitting it. And I know Charleston Catholics, they got some heavy hitters on this ball club, and they're just going to try to take care of business. Talking to one of the assistant coaches, he says, we've always brought our A game when we're playing really good competition and always slouch when we're playing the non-power competition. He knows Man is a top-tier team in Class Single A, so he's hoping that from what Charleston Catholic's done this entire season can live up to what he's told me during the pregame routine when I was talking to them when they were warming up.
Charleston Catholic team comes in here hitting .384. As a team, they've hit 20 home runs this season, driven in 240 runs. As a team, they have scored 264 runs on the season, given up 107. So not only they get it done at the plate, they get it done on the mound as well. And Connor Jarvis will get the start for them tonight. We'll get to his numbers in the bottom half of the inning. But right now, let's set the lineup for the Irish Charleston Catholic. Leading off will be the shortstop, Luke Blades. Gannon Morris, left fielder, will bat second.
Leading off
Jonah
for the Irish,
DeCoco,
the shortstop,
the
number
second
16,
baseman,
Luke
hits
Blades.
third. Batting fourth, Zayden Ranson, the catcher. Third baseman, Jeff Reynolds, hits fifth. Gage Tawney, the center fielder, hits sixth. As the first pitch is low to Blades. Batting seventh, Xander Alera, the first baseman. Tyler Brown, the designated hitter for Joseph Brammer, the right fielder, hits eighth. And then Connor Jarvis, the pitcher, hits ninth as the 1-0's popped up in the left field. And first out of the game is recorded by Jace Aggins, the left fielder who retires Blades. Blades was a .562
Now batting
hitter
for
with a
Catholic,
home
the
run
left
and 22
fielder,
RBIs.
number 3, Gannon
For
Morris.
that at bat.
And it's good for Man to get that first batter out. Now they can try to work around this lineup, as Gannon Morris, also a good hitter for the Charleston Catholic team, as was part of that state championship team last year, and he had some good hits in the sectional and regional play last season.
Morris takes the ball in the dirt. Morris on the season batting .408 with no home runs, 27 RBIs. Everybody, 8 of the 9 batters in this Charleston Catholic lineup, Daniel, have driven in 20 runs or more.
That's why it's one of the biggest key to the game for Charleston Catholic is do what you've done when you got here. You're hitting the ball. They can hit the ball. They proved it, and they can bring batters in. And that's all it takes to win ball games when you're hitting the ball and bringing in runners. For Messer, a young sophomore pitcher who's getting his first full season, actually being one of the top aces for Man's, got to settle in and try to get these batters out in order.
Pitch upstairs for a ball count, runs 2 balls, no strikes to Gannon Morris, who again is hitting, as we mentioned, .408 on the season. He is 31 for 76. He has 8 doubles and 4 triples, and he is ahead in the count, 3 balls, no strikes.
And right now, if you're Messer, got to settle in and try to get Gannon Morris out, because the last thing you want to do is to have Gannon Morris get on base with balls and having the next few batters coming up.
And the 3-0 is outside for a ball, and Gannon Morris is aboard with the walk. And for Morris, that is his 21st walk
Now
of the
playing for the
season
Irish,
against
the
just
second
8
baseman,
strikeouts.
number 6,
So
Jonah DeCoco.
this is a tough team to strike out, as Catholic has drawn 150 walks and only struck out 121 times. And now the dangerous Jonah DeCoco, the second baseman, the batter for the Irish. He's hitting .563 on the year, 8 home runs, 50 RBIs. Dangerous at bat here, as curveball is inside for a ball, 1-0 the count.
And for Man, if you can control lineups 1 through 4, and actually 1 through 5 if you really want to say right there, and try to work that to that bottom of the lineup, you're going to be set good for this game, as these Charleston Catholic guys, they know how to get on base and they know how to move runners over.
Pickoff attempt, and Morris dives back in safely ahead of the tag from Caden Dickerson. Has 7 pitches thus far for Braxton Messer. 6 of the 7 have been balls. The only strike he threw resulted in the only out of this inning. As pickoff attempt again, nothing doing as Morris gets a big lead, but does a good job of sliding back into the bag. Looks like we've seen 2 slides down there, Daniel, and it looks like he's on a slip and slide down there.
He
Gets
is
back in so quick.
You said it.
He's even got a bigger lead now at first, so we'll be watching to see if he's going on this pitch. As Messer sends he does go. Pitch on the way, swung on and fouled, and he'll have to go back to first base. So the count to DeCoco now 1-1.
Well, I was saw when he saw that big run, I knew it for a fact that he was going to take off. So maybe if I was the catcher, John McCoy, I'd have been aware to have maybe Messer pitch out and try to gun him down at second. But that's just high school's not as you would say more experienced in college and the pros. But you got to know, Gannon Morris has wheels for a reason for Charleston Catholic.
Throw over gets away from Dickerson, and that'll allow Morris to advance into second base on the error. So runner in scoring position for the Irish. 1 away here. No score between Charleston Catholic and Man. Braxton Messer, the starting pitcher for the Hillbillies. He has appeared in, this is now his 16th game that he will be appearing in. He has started 9 of those 16. He has a 5-4 record and a 3.30 ERA in 46 2/3 innings. Messer has struck out 81 batters, walked 37, now make it 38 with the free pass to Morse. He's allowed 34 runs, 22 of those have been earned, and 27 hits.
And Crosby went out there to talk to his infield, telling them to settle down as can't afford any just errant throws anymore, honestly, because you can't give a chance to have Charleston Catholic moves up, get a free base moving up on just errant mistakes right there. That's what happened with Gavin and Morris. But maybe this will settle Braxton Messer in as he has a 1-1 count on Jonah DeCoco and looking to try to maybe strike him out.
Pitch is on the outside part of the plate called strike 1 and 2. The count to DeCoco, who is putting up all-state numbers, not only all-state numbers, but numbers that are worthy of the first-team captain for Class Single A. 40 of 71. He scored 30 runs. As that pitch is a called strike 3 and big first strikeout for Braxton Messer. It's out number 1. Daniel, it's only the 7th time this season that DeCoco has went down on strikes.
And DeCoco froze on that one. That's a big strikeout right there for Braxton Messer, and maybe that can build some confidence up. But now that brings up another big heavy hitter for the Charleston Catholic Irish, as this is Zayden Ranson. And Bill, I know this kid. He was a basketball star for the Catholic Irish that made the runner-up team in the state championship for basketball in Class AA, losing to Chapmanville. So this kid's very athletic.
349, 1 home run and 21 RBIs. First pitch swinging, hits a bullet in the center field. Miller fields it. Morris rounding third as a throw will be cut off by Dickerson. Will come in to score, and Ranson with an RBI single has given Charleston Catholic an early 1-0 lead.
Just like I mentioned, this kid is very athletic. He can hit the ball, and he's only a freshman, standing in at around 6'4". And Zayden Ranson does his job. He gets the RBI and gives Charleston Catholic on the board 1-0 early on in this game against Man.
Didn't even give me a chance to get to his stats, as he was hitting 349, 1 home run, 25 RBIs. Now make it 26 RBIs as Reynolds, the batter, the third baseman, steps in, takes a pitch for a called strike. 0-1 to count to Ranson, who is batting .298 with 4 home runs, 21 RBIs on the season for Catholic. Ranson is 29 for 83. He's got the most at-bats of anybody on this Catholic team. 0-1, first pickoff attempt, nothing doing. Ranson also has a co-team high in doubles with 10. He shares that with DeCoco. And if you want to even go in further, he's another tough one to strike out. 10 walks, 3 strikeouts. Pitch on the way, swung on a miss. 0-2 the count to Jeff Reynolds, as Messer now has him set up where he would like him with a no-2 count and runner on first base. Daniel, would you like to see something in the dirt here? See if maybe you can get him to chase?
I would throw it probably either a heater into the dirt or maybe just try to get him on a slider here to get him to chase on this one.
Pitch on the way with the runner going is inside for a ball, no throw, as the runner is, that is a courtesy runner. Looks like it was Aiden Smith, the runner for Ranson, out at first base, steals second without a throw. So 1-2 the count. Pitch on the way to Reynolds is inside. Same location, same result. 2-2 the count.
And Bill, for fans back at home, Jeff Reynolds Jeff Reynolds scored the game-winning run in the state championship game last year to defeat the Wahama White Falcons. So he knows he can get on base and he can try to get some clutch hits for Charleston Catholic as he strikes out there.
Yeah, comes up empty on that pitch as out number 3 in the top half of the first inning for the Catholic as Messer reports his second strikeout. So after the Irish, they played a run on one hit and leaving runners stranded. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Charleston Catholic 1, and the Man Hillbillies coming to bat. This is Man High School Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station.
Number 10,
Hillbillies coming to bat, trailing
Atkins.
1-0 as the Irish played a run in the top of the first inning. Now man's turn at bat, and leading off for the Hillbillies, Jace Atkins, the left fielder. He'll be followed in the lineup by third baseman Cam Gerace. Braxton Messer, the pitcher, hits third. Bo Thompson, the shortstop, hits fourth. Catcher John McCoy hits fifth. His first pitch swung on a miss by Atkins. 0-1 to count to Jace Atkins. Again, John McCoy, the catcher, hits fifth. Batting sixth, first baseman Caden Dickerson. Hunter Gibson, the designated hitter for Gavin Klein. The second baseman bats seventh. Luke Haney, the right fielder, hits eighth. And Colton Miller in center field hits ninth. As Atkins takes a pitch in the dirt, 1-1 to count from Connor Jarvis, making his seventh start of the season. His eighth appearance overall. He has a 2-1 record with a 4.90 ERA, and he's behind in the count 2-1 to Jace Atkins. Jarvis, 30 innings pitched this season. He has struck out 30, walked 13, allowed 22 runs. 21 of those have been earned on 36 hits, and that pitch in the dirt, 3-1 to count.
And how big would this be to get a leadoff runner on base for man to try to put the pressure on Connor Jarvis to make him to make some errors? As you only said, he's only had 7 starts, and I know him from standpoint, this young man doesn't make that much error, so getting a base runner on would be huge right now for man.
Pitch bounced to third, and right at the last second, it'll bounce foul. In fact, the third baseman, Jeff Reynolds, fielded in foul territory. Don't really think he would have had a play on the Speedy Atkins, who was booking it up the first baseline, so the count runs to 3-2.
And just an interesting story I read earlier from Mike Crosby about Jace Atkins. Jace Atkins put in the work as he probably wouldn't have got the start during that COVID freshman year. He put in the work, and now he's became one of man's best baseball players that's come through the program. Was hard working, and it's paying off going to West Virginia Tech next year.
Yeah, he's a 434 hitter, and he flies this pitch in center field. That'll be handled by the center fielder, Gage Tawney, for out number 1.
And right there, if you're Charleston Catholic, got to force man to hit those balls up in the air and get some flyouts and to get out of there. Jarvis can strike out some batters, but Charleston Catholic's defense is the reason why they're number 1. They're defending state champions, and they've sat number 1 majority of the year.
Cam DeRace, 329 hitter, no home runs, 16 RBIs. As he takes a pitch in the dirt for a ball. Set the defense for the Irish for you here in the outfield. Gannon Morrison left, Gage Tawney, the center fielder. Joseph Brammer, the son of former Logan High School All-Stater J.D. Brammer, in right field. On the left side of the diamond, Jeff Reynolds at third, Luke Blades at short, as a pitch is a called strike. 1-1 account to Cam DeRace. Right side of the diamond has Jonah DeCoco at second base, Xander Alera at first base, Zayden Ramson behind the plate for Cody Jarvis. And that pitch swung on by DeRace, hit in the right field, and it's going to one-hop the fence as Charleston Catholic was playing DeRace to pull to left field, and he hits a hole out there where nobody is, and by the time that Brammer gets over there, DeRace is sliding in at second base with a double.
Big hit there for Cam DeRace, and like you mentioned, J.D. Brammer's son, Joseph Brammer, coming in. Wouldn't Logan love to have that legacy player coming in to the player? But now he plays for the green and black in Charleston Catholic. But other than that, as being a Logan grad myself, Cam DeRace just hit a big shot that could probably spark the momentum here, as Braxton Messers came on as one of man's best hitter, and right behind him will be Bo Thompson. So if man can string in some runs and maybe some pass balls, they could tie this game up, Bill. And then we know Bo Thompson has the power to hit one out. If Messer can get on and Thompson hit this one out, this would be probably the best start man has ever had in this season with how they're doing against the offending single-A state champions, Charleston Catholic.
Messer hitting .407 with 1 home run, 18 RBIs, first pitch swinging. Ground ball to Blades at short to throw over just in time to get the hustling Messer for out number 2, 6-3 on the putout. Bo Thompson the batter.
And that was just good placement there for Jonah DeCoco to get that grab and throw over to Charleston Catholic's first baseman, Alera, to get out number 2. Big out right there. Now that brings up Bo Thompson, and all Bo Thompson can do is hopefully just get a base hit here and tie the game now. Or he, like I mentioned, he can hit one out of here and make this a 2-1 ball game.
Thompson, one of 3 players with 3 home runs for the Hillbillies as he swings at the first pitch. Comes up empty, 0-1 to count to Thompson. A team-high 481 average, 3 home runs, as I mentioned, and 24 runs batted in. That is second behind Jace Atkins, 26. Thompson can connect one and put man ahead 2. He'll join Atkins in that category as the 0-1 swung, hit in the center field right at Gage Tawney, who makes the out for the third out in the inning. So Hillbillies get a 1-out double but leave him stranded out at second base. 1 inning complete from William Tootie Carter Field. It's Charleston Catholic 1 and Man nothing. This is Man High School Baseball on WBOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. William Tootie Carter Field, top of the second inning. Charleston Catholic leading the Man High School Hillbillies and Gage Tawney, the second baseman, the batter for the Irish, ahead in the count 2-1 as he took a ball on the first pitch, fouled off the second, and took a pitch outside for, well, actually that's strike three as the scoreboard was behind here as we were sorting through our lineups up here. But that's strikeout number 3 for Messer. Messer starting to get in a groove, Daniel.
That is big strikeout right there to start off this inning. If he can continue that, his groove will get wider as now Xander Alera is stepping in, and Xander Alera has some pop in his bat too. So right now this will be a big batter to get out for man.
And that pitch is called strike 0-1 to count to Alera as the first baseman for the Irish is batting .389. No home runs, but 25 RBIs. And Tawney before him as that pitch swung on, bounced to third, fielded by the third baseman to race over to Dickerson at the bag at first for out number 2. Gage Tawney before him. How big was that? How big was that first out, Daniel? Gage Tawney was hitting .403, 6 home runs, 31 RBIs. He had the ability to make this a 2-0 ball game with one swing of the bat, but Messer was able to retire him. As Tyler Brown, the DH, steps into the box, swings and misses the first pitch. Brown batting just .211 on the year, no home runs, 6 RBIs.
And this would be a big 1-2-3 sit down for Braxton Messer if he can do it in this lineup against Charleston Catholic, as this team knows they can get the job done and hit the ball. So Messer has a lot of his hard work to come up to. So far, so good here in the second inning.
He's one pitch away from doing that, as Brown is 8 for 38 on the year. 0-2 pitch on the way inside, and it did hit him. There for a second, I thought maybe that Brown had got out of the way of that pitch, but it does clip him. And with 2 outs, the batter will be Connor Jarvis, the pitcher.
Connor Jarvis steps in. This is going to be a pitcher-on-pitcher crime right here. Jarvis against Messer. And right now, Charleston Catholic's got another golden opportunity to keep this inning going and moving the runners over. As Messer, he knows that these Charleston Catholic base runners like to steal.
Jarvis, .365 average, no home runs, 23 RBIs in the 9 spot. Takes a strike on the outside corner. 0-1 to Jarvis.
And Messer's getting his signs from John McCoy as Mike Crosby has shifted his lineup again. He's playing a lottery with his lineup.
Oh, line drive right back at Messer. He knocks it down. Has plenty of time to throw over to Dickerson for out number 3. And the Hillbillies work around a 2-out hit batter to leave him stranded out at first base. So nothing doing for the Irish in the top half of the second inning. We'll move to the bottom of the second. Charleston Catholic leads man 1-0. This is Maine High School Baseball on WVOW Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. second inning from Man West Virginia. Charleston Catholic 1, man 0. John McCoy, the batter, takes a pitch in the dirt for a ball, and that'll even up the count. 2-2. McCoy, the catcher for Man High School, a 310 average, 3 home runs, 18 RBIs. Bill Lusk, Daniel Miller with you. Hunter Gibson, our studio engineer, as the 2-2 is low, and the count runs full. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Unlike what happened in the last inning, Bill, man would love to have the leadoff runner on. John McCoy, usually we see him around third base. Now catcher, he moved back to third, and now he's back at catcher. So McCoy's been around in the infield between third and catcher, and how big would this be to get on base?
He swings and fouls that one out of play. 3-2, the count remains, as I'm not for certain. We can't really see where that foul ball went, but based on the trajectory of the ball and where it was heading, I would say those on foul ball duty might want to get a canoe to get that one. That might be in the guy dot. 3-2 on its way, and pitch is a curveball that freezes McCoy, and that is the first strikeout for Connor Jarvis, and out number 1 in the Man High School half of the second inning.
And now that brings up Caden Dickerson to the plate. And Caden Dickerson, he's just been one of those players, you never know what you're going to get out of him, but he can get the job done. This is his first year starting, and he's done a really good job at first base for the Man High Hillbillies.
Dickerson hitting .347, swings, pops first pitch up to first base, and Alara will make the catch for out number 2. So 2 down in the home half of the second for the Hillbillies. Hunter Gibson, the designated hitter, the batter. Gibson, a .327 hitter on the year. No home runs, 13 RBIs.
Hunter Gibson left the studio to come now bat, and if he can get on base, he'll be going back to the studio, Bill. But Hunter Gibson here for Man, he's done a good job. He did a good job down at Man, relieving for Braden Compton.
Gibson takes a pitch outside for a ball, 1-0 the count, as he looks to get aboard here with 2 outs in the second inning with Man trailing 1-0. Pitch on the way is outside into the backstop, 2-0 now the count.
And for Hunter Gibson, this would be like an interesting matchup right here, because Hunter, he likes to, I think from what I saw him hit this year, he likes to hit those fastballs. And Jarvis, he's been throwing almost nothing but heat this time. Maybe throwing in a few curveballs here, but maybe if you can give Hunter Gibson some heat, Hunter Gibson might make you pay.
Pitch is high and outside, 3-0 now the count to Gibson. And we'll see if Gibson has the green light or if Coach Crosby will give him the take sign. 3-0 on the way from Jarvis to Gibson as Jarvis works from the windup. Here it is, and Gibson taking all the way. Thought he had ball 4, but that pitch right down the middle of the plate, and strike 1 to call as Gibson flipped his bat to the dugout on third base side and was on his way to first. So 3-1 on its way, swung on, popped up, and it will be out of play. So the count now runs full, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Those has to be the worst feelings when you thought you had ball 4 and you flipped your bat and for the umpire to say strike. That just feels like the worst feeling, because you thought, like, what do I have to do or something like that. But the umpire has been consistent with those calls, and right now Hunter Gibson was 3-0. Now he's got a full count now. See what he can do against Jarvis.
And it's a called strike 3 on the outside corner, and that's strikeout number 2 and out number 3 in the bottom half of the second inning. Hillbillies do nothing in the second. We'll move to the third. Your score, Charleston Catholic 1, Man 0. This is Man High School Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Time to the third inning, swinging on L1 pitch. The leadoff batter, Luke Blades, the shortstop, will reach on an infield single as the second baseman, Gavin Klein, does a good job of keeping it on the infield, but the throw is just late to get the runner, Blades, at first. Now a conversation between the home plate umpire and Coach Mike Crosby, and now the field umpire will come in and talk about it. The question, and I know what his question because you mentioned it as soon as it happened, Daniel. When we were in the break, you said that Blades had to get back to the bag, but I don't feel that Blades made a turn which would signal an attempt to second base on the overthrow. Of course, you can overrun the bag at first base in baseball. He didn't make the turn, and that's a call that's going to stand, so he is safe on the single.
Yeah, that was a very questionable call. And I did see him make that turn. Like he didn't make an attempt to go to second, but he did make the turn towards second. I could see where Dickerson had the awareness to tag him, and that's what Mike Crosby was wanting to get the argument, but no avail right there.
Time called, and Blades was moving on the pitch as the batter, Gannon Morris, who's walked back in the first inning and came around to score on a single by Zayden Ranson to give Catholic a 1-0 lead, and that's where we currently stand. But, back to your point, even though that Blades did turn, he was turning to come back to the first base bag, is what the umpire said. And he made no attempt. Blades going again, throw down to second base is going to beat him, but the throw's going to be off the line, and Blades will slide in with a stolen base.
And after that first pitch to Morris with a strike, as now Charleston Catholic has a runner in scoring position, no outs, and Lucas Blades is just a few feet away. I would say a few feet away from third, and then another 90 feet away if he gets the third from home. So Gannon Morris has the big opportunity to get an RBI on the day and bring him in.
Pitch outside corner, 0-2 the count, as the first pitch was a called strike on the corner. Second pitch, pretty much same location, same result. Nothing in two to Moore's 408 hitter, no home runs, 27 RBIs. He's looking for RBI number 28 here with the base hit. And this is what Charleston Catholic does to teams. They get runners on, they start the running game, get them in scoring position, play the small ball, and then get the hits to produce the runs as that pitch is outside, 1-2 the count. And that's why these RBI totals are so high for everybody in this lineup. So Messer, 1-2 count ahead of Morse. Check of the runner, pick-off attempt, and just barely Blades gets back ahead of the tag of Bo Thompson. That couldn't have been any closer.
Oh, man, that had to be just by the hair of the old hair of a chinny chin chin type play right there. That was close. And Messer almost made that perfect right there. Just a sly hair late.
You could see the hand from where our broadcast position is. You could see the hand get back in. Now chopper to short. Thompson fields, throws over to first for the first out. Dickerson will run it back in to keep an eye on Blades, who moves up to third base on the ground out with one away. Jonah DeCoco, the batter, he was a strikeout victim, back in the first.
Jonah DeCoco, like you said, the team leading batter. He's putting up all-state numbers. And really, if you look at it, all-American numbers, if you actually want to go by it, like you said, he's probably a first-team All-State. Might be captain this year as a sophomore for the Charleston Catholic Irish, and he'd love nothing more to finish his sophomore career as another state championship. But he's got to get there first, and Messer has a big task against DeCoco.
Pitch outside for a ball, 1-0 the count to DeCoco, who came into the contest hitting .563. So that average is going to dip just a little bit after that first at bat. He had 8 home runs and 50 RBIs, looking for RBI number 51. Pitch on the way, outside. Good job by McCoy to try to frame it, but he doesn't get the call. So 2-0 the count. That pitch just too far outside to be framed.
Just barely missing that frame. Like you say, John McCoy, who's been in and out of the catcher spot, is starting to get the hang of it, and he's looking to frame it. See if he can frame it better against DeCoco.
2-0 is fouled off, and the count runs 2 balls, 1 strike to Jonah DeCoco with 1 out. A runner at third base. Charleston Catholic leads man 1-0.
And how big would this out be if Braxton Messer can strike out DeCoco, leaving that runner at third?
Pitch on the way, swung on, popped up in the center, driven in the center field, I should say, not popped up. Miller starting in, now backs up. He'll make the play, tagging from third and scoring is Blades on the sacrifice fly off the bat of DeCoco. That is his 51st run driven in for the Irish. They now lead it 2-0.
And right there, like you mentioned, we was looking over the stats, and Charleston Catholic had all these RBIs. Well, it's for a reason and stuff like that. When you can get runners on and move them over, and you do plays like that, when you can just sacrifice fly out there and bring home runners from third, that's why Charleston Catholic is the top team in Class Single A. And for reasons like that, that's going to be tough for man to try to beat them if they can't get those strikeouts.
2 out, Zayden Ranson, the batter. The catcher, 1 for 1 with an RBI single back in the first inning. A 2-out RBI single back in the first inning to produce the first run for the Irish. Now he steps in, takes a strike, 0-1 to count. Pitch on the way is outside corner, called strike 2. So Messer doing a good job of settling in here. It's been the 1-out base runners and the leadoff runners that's giving him the troubles. Pitch on the way, swung on, popped up on the right side, but out of play. Count remains 0-2.
Yeah, for Messer, everybody's giving a clapping hand for a reason. But anyway, back to
foul ball in the Little League field. There's a game going on over there. I think somebody caught the foul ball in the Little League field, and that that's not easy when everybody's yelling heads up and you're looking and the ball's coming at you in just a split second. So pitch on the way, 0-2, swung on, popped up. Maybe it'll be the same person that makes the play, and this time no clap, so it must have just been out of the reach. So count remains 0-2.
And getting to all that, getting my point back to Braxton Messer. Messer against a heavy hitter, Zayden Ranson, who got the first RBI of the day with a single for Charleston Catholic. Would love to strike him out here.
Slow roller hit to third and fielded by DeRace. The throw is high, pulls Dickerson off the bag, but he comes down in time to tag Ranson for the third out. But the Irish get a run on one hit and leave nobody left on base. Head to the bottom of the third inning. It is Charleston Catholic 2 and Man 0. This is Man Hillbillies Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Bottom of the third inning from William Tootie Carter Field, 8-9-1, due up for the Hillbillies against Connor Jarvis. Luke Haney, Colton Miller, Jace Aggins. First pitch swinging by Haney, popped up in foul territory, and it will push out a play. 0-1 to count.
And Luke Haney, who's been in and out of the lineup this season for Man. He's moved back into the right field position. Usually that would be Braden Compton's spot, but Mike Crosby went with Haney for this game. See if Haney can deliver, getting his first at bat in a while.
Pitch in the dirt, 1-1 to count to Haney. As Ranson having a little bit of trouble there with it, and now he gathers it up and gets it back to Jarvis. It's 2-0 to score here from William Tootie Carter Field. Pitch on the way, swung on a miss, 1-2 the count to Haney. And Jarvis 1 pitch away from his third strikeout, which actually be his third strikeout in the last 4 batters.
And would be third straight time that Man's leadoff runner has been sat down if he can strike him out.
Pitch on the way is called strike 3 on the outside corner, and that is a third strikeout for Jarvis. All of them of the looking variety, and the one-out batter, Colton Miller.
And Colton Miller, we've seen him around this lineup. We've seen him move up to high as 2. We've seen him to 4. We've seen him in the middle. Now he's back to his normal 9-hole spot, as this is, you would have to think Mike Crosby wants him to lay down a bunt, but Miller can beat out the legs, but maybe Miller just can try to just get on base with using his swing of the bat.
Pitch outside for a ball, and you can tell how well scouted that this Charleston Catholic team has scouted. Man, you see the third baseman, Jeff Reynolds, up on the grass and still charging to protect against the bunt as the pitch is in the dirt. 2-0 the count.
And how big would this be for Miller to get on base, either by a walk or if he can lay down a bunt, or he can just rip back like Luke Knight does for Chapmanville and just get a base hit here, as Miller got some legs, probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest runner on this team, and having him on the base pass would do dividends for Man.
Pitch on the way, shows bunt, and pulls back as that pitch is in the dirt. 3-0 now the count, and ball bounced off the catcher, Ranson, at the plate, and popped up in the air. I thought maybe it was going to get over the fence and get in the press box here.
Yeah, it was close, and I would have been ready. I would have been ready for it.
It almost looked like a pop fly in foul territory that hit and scooted up so high. And that's not the first time I've seen that in a game. But 3-0 on the way. Miller shows bunt, pulls back, takes a strike. 3-1 now the count.
You knew Miller was going to be on the take here with a 3-0 count. Now Miller, I still wouldn't be on the take. I might try to lay down a bunt, and he's going to do it right there.
Shows bunt, pulls back, and hits a little looper over the shortstop's head in the left field for a base hit, and the Hillbillies have a one-out base runner.
That is a big hit for Colton Miller. He pulled a Luke Knight there. He showed bunt, pulled it back, and he ripped it right over to Coco's head into left center, and that's big for Man. With only one out, they got their fastest runner on the base path. So this one's going to be interesting with Jace Atkins coming to the plate. Bill, if Jace Atkins can get a hold of one, what we've seen in the beginning of the year against Sherman in the Woodback Classic, he could put one over to right field, and make this a tie ball game.
Well, he does have 3 home runs. Pitch on the way is outside for a called strike. 0-1 to count to Jace Atkins, who flew out to center field back in the first inning. Atkins had a grand slam in game 1 of the Man's 10-0 win over Mingo Central, as throw over Miller dives back in safely, but Jace Atkins had the grand slam in that third inning was part of a 9-run third, I believe it was, that broke the game open.
You know Jarvis is over there looking at Miller. Like you said, they done their scouting report on Colton Miller.
Miller goes, Atkins shows bunt, pulls back, fouls it off, and Miller will have to retreat back to first base, and the count runs to 0-2.
And we've been talking about how having Colton Miller being one of the fastest players on the team. Jace Atkins is fast as well, and he's been the leadoff man for the majority of this year. He can hit the ball, and he can also get on base. As you gotta love having a guy like Jace Atkins right behind probably your fastest player, Colton Miller. So this is a big opportunity here for Man to try to get back in the game against Charleston Catholic.
Pitch swung on, bounce to the mound. Jarvis will field, have one play, and that's to first base for the second out as Miller moves up to second on the ground out. So 2 away and came to race the batter. And we'll go back and correct myself. I said 9 runs in that third inning. It was actually a 6-run third inning that Man had
the third baseman, number
game 1
25,
win over
Gerace.
the Central Miners. So Cam DeRace, the batter, he doubled back in the first inning. And take a look at the outfield, and right fielder Joseph Rammer's not playing as far over to left field as he was before.
But you still got to be careful because Cam DeRace did it once. He can do it again and try to maybe go oppo. But now that Brammer's back in and you got center fielder for Charleston Catholic, that is Gage Tawney.
Gage Tawney, the center fielder.
Look how deep the right field to center field. There's a big gap right there. If he can put it where the 330 sign is, he's going to have probably a stand-up triple bill.
There's a gap there, but we know that Tawney, the center fielder, we know he's pretty quick, so he could probably close that gap down if there's a fly ball. Pitch swung on, hit second base. Second baseman has trouble with it. DeRace hustling down the line. He will beat the throw as it goes off the glove, and coming around the third and scoring on the play is Colton Miller on the air, and the Hillbillies cut the deficit in half. They now trail 2-1.
And that's what man is just. They got to take advantage of every Charleston Catholic. Just make even the slightest error, they got to take advantage of it. As that error throw from the second baseman over to first allowed Colton Miller to round third, head home, and now man is cut into the lead, 1-0. And you got Braxton Messer, and Messer is one of the best hitters man has on his team with Bo Thompson right after him.
Pitch in the dirt for a ball, 1-0 the count. So that'll be an unearned run. As a second baseman, Jonah DeCoco had troubles with it. He had plenty of time to get DeRace. He picked it up, hurried his throw, and he overshot his first baseman as it went off the mitt of Allaire at first. And not giving up on the play, Coach Jack Daniels with 2 outs was waving Colton Miller in the entire time. And once the ball went off the glove of Allaire, Miller scored standing. And now Messer takes a called strike, 1-1 the count.
Jarvis is looking back over at DeRace, knowing that DeRace has gone speed. His ball gets away.
Pitch outside, gets to the backstop on the wild pitch, taking second base will be DeRace, and now the tying run is in scoring position for the Hillbillies. We'll see if Messer can help his own cause and even this game at 2.
You know Messer can do it. Messer has one of the best swinging bats in the southern part of West Virginia. If he can get a hold of one, he can put one right back up the middle or maybe even over the head of the shortstop and try to tie this ball game up between Man and Charleston Catholic.
2-1 on the way. Messer swings and sends a shot down the right field line, but out of play. That one went out of play on the right side. It hits right near the concession stand of the Little League field, so the count evens up at 2-2. Messer could have lined that one out. That ball would have been in the gap and would have tied this game at 2.
And Messer would have probably had an extra base with that hit. And right now, Jarvis knows he can't afford no miss error right here. This would be a big out for Charleston Catholic.
Pitch on the way, he jams him. Check swing as Reynolds fields it at third, throws over in time to get Messer to retire the Hillbillies in the bottom half of the third inning. But man, plates a run on 1 hit, 1 error. They leave a runner stranded. 3 innings in the books from William Tootie Carter Field. It's Charleston Catholic 2 and Man 1. This is Man Hillbillies Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Top of the fourth inning, 5-6-7, due up for the Irish. Jeff Reynolds leading off. He is ahead in the count 3-0 as Messer struggling to find the zone here to start the fourth inning. Reynolds, Gage Tawney, and Xander Alera due up. And Reynolds will take his base with a 4-pitch walk to lead off the inning. That is the second walk issued by Messer this evening.
And Bill, we got a score update down in Madison in softball sectional winners bracket. Scott leads Logan 7-0 as the Wildcats have dug themselves into a hole and trying to look to maybe fight back as they did it against Chapmanville on Tuesday night. Can they do it tonight against Scott?
We'll see if they can dig back from that. 7-0 is. We'll get to that point in a second. Ground ball to second, the third, excuse me. That is Gerace over to Klein at second to force Reynolds. Throw not in time to turn a double play. And Tawny's aboard on the fielder's choice. 5-4 on the putout. And one away, Xander Alera.
First baseman, number 12.
Xander Alera, whose last at bat, he grounded out from third to first to get the second out of the second inning. And with a runner now on base, he'd love to move him over, get a base hit here, and put Charleston Catholic, give him that 2-run lead back if he can get a base hit here against Maxer.
Runner going, and perfect hit and run there as it got to second baseman Klein moving over to cover the bag. But they got a throw coming in at third, and not in time to get the runner, Tawny, who slides in ahead of the tag of Gerace. Good shot out there in right field by Lucas Haney to deliver a strike, but Tawny showing off those wheels. He's able to go to first and third on the hit and run.
And luckily that ball didn't hit Tawny. Tawny kind of, when he was taking off running, good shot by Alera, almost nailed his own teammate.
Very close. You're right about that.
Very close. So luckily nothing happened there, but Charleston Catholic's got runners in the corners with only one out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to pull a double steal here.
And there goes the steal. Pitch swung on, hit in left field. Aggins is going to come in. He's going to have to field it on a hop as the throw comes in to the pitcher. And they've got him at second base. The throw in time to erase Tyler Brown, who got the RBI single. But Jace Aggins came up gunning the pitcher. Messer cut it off and then turned and fired out to Klein, covering the bag at second for the 1-4 putout. 2 outs here in the top of the fourth. A run in, though, as Gage Tawney scores on the single, 3-1 Irish.
And that's what you'd love to see if you're Charleston Catholic fans, is getting those runners in. That's why they're so good. They can get RBIs and they can hit the ball. Now Messer's got to work the pitcher, Connor Jarvis, to get out number 3 in this inning and try to avoid more damage than leaving that runner at third stranded.
Jarvis takes a pitch inside for a ball, 1-0 the count. 1-0 pitch outside, 2-0 the count. As a very good job by the Irish to get the runners. They're getting runners aboard, and now you're seeing the hit and run game come apart. And we've seen the first part of the first 2 innings that the Irish scored, the first and the third. It was the stolen base. This time, hit and run as that pitch swung on and fouled out of play, and the count now runs to 2 balls, 1 strike. Charleston
Catholic's got one of the best legs in Class Single A, and they're using it as they can hit the ball, but they can also run. As what we saw with Tawny, he was on the move, and Alera about nailed him on the move, and it just happens right there with Brown. He tried to be aggressive going to second, and he ended up getting tagged out, but that's Charleston Catholic's MO for this entire year, be aggressive.
2-1 on the outside, 2-2 the count to Connor Jarvis. And real quickly set the Hillbillies defense for you for the first time. Outfield, Jace Aggins left, Colton Miller center, Gavin Klein, Luke Haney in right. Pitch on the way, swung on, hit in the hold short. Thompson to one knee, pops up, fields, throws, not in time as the throw gets away from Dickerson. And coming in to score will be Alera, making it 4-1 Catholic.
And just a little bit off there from Bo Thompson. He did a great job snagging that grounder. Just couldn't get to the glove of Caden Dickerson. And just like that, Charleston Catholic takes advantage, Bill. They've put up 3 runs in this inning as they have a 4-1 lead on Man.
So
or 2 runs.
Hillbillies answered with the run and a bottom inning throw over, nothing doing as Jarvis is back in safely. Hillbillies got to run back in the third inning after Catholic went up 2-0 in the top of the third. They played one in the bottom of the third, and now the Irish have responded with 2 runs here in the fourth, keeping the pressure on the Hillbillies. And pitch on the way to the left fielder is swung on and hit in the left field, but there is Jace Haggins to track it down for out number 3. But the Irish do some damage. They get 2 runs on 3 hits and leave a runner stranded. As we head to the bottom of the fourth, Charleston Catholic 4, Man 1. This is Man High School Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Bottom of the fourth inning, Bo Thompson leads off for the Hillbillies as they trail Charleston Catholic 4-1. Thompson 2-0 pitch, swinging in the right left field for a single as he makes the turn at first, but he'll hold there as the left fielder Gannon Morris gets it back in. Hold Thompson to a leadoff single.
Big hit there by Bo Thompson for the first time, Bill. Man actually has a leadoff runner on the base as their last 3 batters that led off an inning either flew out or struck out. So this could be a good sign for Man here to start this bottom of the fourth inning against Charleston Catholic, who really blew the gates open in that fourth inning, in that top of the fourth inning.
McCoy, the batter, he is 0 for 1 on a strikeout back in the second inning, and he swings at the first pitch, fouls it off. 0-1 to count. Score from Herbert Hoover as they are they're just underway, top of the first inning. Logan has played at 2 runs. They're out to an early 2-0 lead in that contest as the Wildcats get to it here. They have an RBI off the bat of Ryan Roberts. Dawson Maynard with a double has scored the first run as the Wildcats lead 2-0. So we're going to presume that another run came across on an error or something as the ball is in the dirt. 1-1 down the count as we'll see if we can get it up on the game changer. As Roberts grounded into a fielder's choice that scored McCormick Ilderton, who was running for the catcher Jake Ramey, and Maynard come around to score on an error. So 2-0. That pitch swung on foul, and count now runs to 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Bill, with the Logan and Herbert Hoover game, it was supposed to happen earlier this season, but it got rained out and it got pushed back all the way to the season finale as Logan has the game with Herbert Hoover tonight, and then they close out the regular season tomorrow against the Wayne Pioneers. We will not be covering that game. We got the GW Chapmanville game at Ted Ellis Field for their season finale, but that would be a big momentum builder for Logan to go into the sectional games if they can get a quality win over a very talented And even though they lost a lot of graduates, but they're still talented, Herbert Hoover Ball Club.
Well, that was a game that was supposed to be played the Friday before Logan left for Myrtle Beach to take part in the Mingo Bay Classic, and I guess just like last year, it got rained out. Same situation, got rained out. But I think last year Logan was playing Wayne maybe in that game that got rained out there. This time Herbert Hoover, as Chapmanville and Mingo Central are in action, and the game has went final. The Chapmanville Tigers defeat the Mingo Central Miners 10-0. The final score. Daniel, big congratulations out to Jacob Topping. 5-inning perfect game, 13 strikeouts in the win over Mingo Central.
And Jacob Topping is just a good pitcher right there for Chapmanville, and he's going to be tough to beat in the sectionals.
Pitch gets behind McCoy as he ducks out of the way. 2-2 now the count.
Usually if a batter, when something like that comes out of you, I'd let the ball hit me if you're going to get on base. But then again, that's just the craziness of me. You got to do whatever you got to do to get on base, no matter what you have to do, either get hit or do the hitting.
2-2 popped up on the infield. Reynolds calling everybody off, and will make the catch out at third base for out number 1. Caden Dickerson, the batter. Dickerson flew out to first base back in the second inning.
Caden Dickerson would like to erase what he did back in the inning. And Dickerson, he's got some pop in his bag. He can get some base hits from man. And right now, this would be a big opportunity. You can't have Bo Thompson standing out there on first after he had that hard-hitting single down third base line. You got to take advantage and move him over.
Pitch on the way, swung on line right at the third baseman. Reynolds Fields throws back over, and he won't be able to get Thompson, who was able to get back to the bag safely to avoid the double play. But a hard line drive right at the third baseman for the second out, and Hunter Gibson, the batter.
Jeff Reynolds is getting a workout over there at first base. He caught a pop-up, and now he caught a line drive, hard-hitting shot from Caden Dickerson, and now that brings up Hunter Gibson back to the plate, and to see if Hunter Gibson can move Bo Thompson over.
Pitch outside for a ball, 1-0 the count to Gibson. He's 0 for 1, struck out looking back in the second inning as Jarvis is working his fourth inning so far through 3 2/3. He's allowed 3 hits, 1 run. It is unearned, and he has 3 strikeouts and no walks as a throw over. Thompson dives back in safely.
And Jarvis knows Bo Thompson will be aggressive on the base path and take over, take second. If you're not careful, Thompson can easily steal second. So Jarvis is trying to keep him at bay.
Pitch inside, backs Gibson, off the plate. 2-0 the count as Thompson walks back to the bag at first base. What I meant to say on the pitch, but 2-0 to Hunter Gibson, 2 outs as Thompson will be moving on contact at first base. Throw over, nothing doing as Thompson's back in standing this time.
Jarvis is playing that chess match with Thompson. He's not wanting him to take off any time, but you got to be careful if you're Jarvis. One bad throw can get away from the first baseman, and then you got Thompson maybe going all the way to third, depends on the throw. Thompson
running on the pitch as it swung on and fouled. 2-1 to count to Hunter Gibson. As the Hillbillies trailed the Irish 4-1. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. Man with a runner on first base. That was Bo Thompson, who led off the inning with a single. Since then, he's pretty much been left stranded there. He's not been able to advance any further as Jarvis back on the mound. Checks Thompson again. 2-1 pitch on its way. It swung on and fouled out of play. Count runs to 2-2.
And we have a score update. We're going into looks like the top of the fifth. Scott still leads Logan in softball 7-0.
Yeah, the Lady Wildcats need to be putting up some runs because if they don't score in that fifth inning, Scott could end it in the bottom half. 2-2 on the way, swung on a miss. There's strikeout number 4 for Jarvis and out number 3 here in the fourth inning. The Hillbillies get a base hit but leave him stranded. We go to the top of the fifth inning. 4-1, Charleston Catholic leads Man. This is Man High School Baseball on WBOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station.
big. That was close.
I thought he beat it.
I did too. Messer gave up 2 hits in that inning.
2 left on.
2 left on. He didn't walk a batter. And he didn't get a strikeout. All right. Ah, man, it's 8-0, Scott.
That's game.
Top 5th. Logan's got to score here. They got 2 outs, runner in scoring position. Quick, foul ball. Logan can't play in minutes, Scott. So now they got to play Chapmanville. At Logan.
Maybe the reason is our great selection of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles that are on sale.
That'll be tomorrow.
Yep.
Maybe it's the new Fords that are arriving daily. And maybe
It's still all
Now
about Scott
bottom
on the
fifth
one
for the
side.
Hillbillies, the right fielder, number 24, Lucas Haney.
I hope we're muted.
And that's how you're treated by people who know your name, care about you, and want the very best for you. Any pharmacy can fill your prescriptions. But
Bottom of the 5th inning, Lucas Haney leads off for the Man High School Hillbillies. Haney, Miller, Jace Atkins, 8-9-1, due up in the lineup for the Hillbillies. Haney facing a 1-1 count. Jarvis pitch on the way, gets him swinging a pitch in the dirt, and the count now runs to 1-2. Daniel, this is the part of the lineup that the Hillbillies did their damage. They got a single from Colton Miller with 1 out, and he came around to score on the errant play out at second base as Haney reaches out, hits it to third. Reynolds charging, throws over in time to get a hustling Haney 1 away in the bottom half of the 5th.
And a big out there to start this inning for Charleston Catholic is now Colton Miller, who he is 1 for 1 today with a base hit that sent it right over the shortstop's head, Jonah DeCoco. And right now he'd love to do what he did back in the 3rd inning and get a base hit and tried to get something spark here. When he got on base, he came around and scored for man. He's gotten man only's run in this contest.
Takes a pitch outside for a ball, 1-0 the count to Miller, who Daniel mentioned, 1 for 1 with a run scored back in the 3rd inning. 1-0 offering on the way. First, Miller steps out, and now the 1-0 on its way is low for a ball, 2-0 the count.
And right now, Miller's just he's been getting ahead of the count as he got a base hit on a 3-1 count. He was ahead of the count, 3-0. See if he can do it again.
Pitch outside corner called strike, 2-1. Now the count to Colton Miller as man trails 4-1 in the bottom half of the 5th inning. 1 out. Hillbillies currently running out of outs as that pitch is outside for a ball, 3-0 the count. So the Hillbillies running out of opportunities, running out of outs. They need base runners and hits. They have 3 hits in this contest, but only 1 run. They've also left 3 on base. Pitch outside corner called strike. Now the count runs full. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
And Jarvis has done a good job painting the outside corners on Colton Miller. See if he can finish the job here and get another strikeout on man and strike out 5.
Pitch swung on, hit to short. Good play there by Blades to backhand it. Throw gets away, and Miller will be safe on the throwing error. So the Hillbillies have a 1-out base runner in the top of the lineup in Jace Atkins coming to the plate.
And that is how you get on base and keep this inning going for Colton Miller. Man, he used his legs to beat out that throw on that throw from Lucas Blades. Where I called him Jonah DeCoco this whole game. That was my fault. It's Lucas Blades at shortstop. And right there, when Colton Miller got on, Bill, we see man takes advantage, and they can try to score a run. They need to score a run here in this inning to try to cut into this lead.
So Aggins the batter, and he'll get hit by the pitch, and that'll bring up Cam Gerace to the plate, and Hillbillies have the tying run coming to the plate in the form of Gerace, who is 1 for 2, a double back in the first inning, and he reached on an error back in the third, and that's going to draw a visit from the pitching coach for Charleston Catholic.
That looks like the head coach, Bobinger, coming out there to talk to, it looks like it may be the young Bobinger.
Jarvis is only at 69 pitches, so I can't imagine that they're pulling him. He's not pitched a bad game if we want to be, to be honest. But the mound visit is still going on, and Logan has scored, Daniel. You mentioned it during the break that they had to score to keep it going. They are now down 8-1 as we get my game changer app to load here. They're heading to the bottom of the 5th inning, but the Skyhawks have the leadoff batter on base and a runner at the plate, or a batter at the plate. So one run will end that one.
Number 25, Cam Gerace.
When we had them against Chapmanville during spring break, we didn't even know Charlie Albright was going to be able to play. Well, she's in pitching right now, and it's from 16 pitches. So good news for Logan. Glad to see that she's able to get back as a throw back to second, nothing doing as Miller dives in safely.
Yeah, like you were mentioning with Charlie Albright, she had an injury in the earlier season. I think she got hit on a line drive back, and she was out for a couple of games, and that's a big picture for Logan. Right now, Scott is taking advantage of her. This is her first game back in the circle for Logan, and Logan needs to put some runs up and try to get Scott out quick.
Bouncing ball to short, knocked down as they'll only get one play as the throw gets away, and it'll allow Miller to score from third. Miller moved up to third base on the play as Gerace bounced it to the shortstop. Blades knocked it down, kept it on the infield, and threw over to the second baseman, to Coco, for the force. The Coco's throw got away from the first baseman, allowing Miller to come in and score. And it's the second error of the inning for the Irish, who have now committed 3 errors. And man now trails 4-2, and Braxton Messer, the batter.
And just like what happened back in the third inning when man got on, all it takes was one bad throw on an air throw to get away with Cam Gerace in that spot, and Colton Miller comes around and scores. So man takes advantage of it, and they now trail 4-2. Maybe some more noise can happen for man to get back into this game.
Pitch outside 2-0 as Braxton Messer represents the tying run for the Man High School Hillbillies. If he reaches, Bo Thompson will come to the plate. Bo Thompson will represent the go-ahead run for the Hillbillies. Thompson has 3 home runs on the season, and he could give man the lead with one swing of the bat if he's got an opportunity here. But Messer swings and fouls. 2-0 pitch off, 2-1 to count. So if Messer can reach base to bring Thompson to the plate, things could get interesting for the Hillbillies and Irish in this contest.
And Bill, just like what happened in the first inning, these two teams were neck and neck with each other, and all it just took was just one bad inning from man for Charleston Catholic to put them away. See if man can continue to get in the positive direction and fight back into this game.
Runner breaks from first to second, Gerace, and he'll have to retreat back as Messer fouls off the 2-1 pitch. And 2-2 now the count to Braxton Messer. Again, Messer 0 for 2. He grounded out to short back in the first inning, and in his last at bat in the third, grounded out to Reynolds at third. So 2-2, 2 outs, pitch on the way, and swung on and fouled, and count will remain 2-2.
Right now, Messer's just fighting it off. Right now, how big of a base hit would this be? Or just as big for the Messer just to get on with Bo Thompson coming up behind him. And last time Bo Thompson was at the bat, Bill, he got a hard-hitting single down third base line. So this was a big at-bat right here for Braxton Messer. See if he can get on base.
Pitch swung on and fouled again, so it'll remain 2-2 as top of the second inning from Herbert Hoover. The Wildcats Let's see the game changer updates as Garrett Williamson singles to score McCormick Gilderton. Logan up 6-0 on Herbert Hoover. So the Wildcats might be hitting that stride that we saw last season when they suffered a loss to Independence and just went on a streak. So pitch on the way outside, full count now to Braxton Messer, and throw down from the catcher Ransom to Allaire at first, nothing doing as Gerace gets back in. So Gerace will get a running head start on the pitch here. A hit in the gap could score Gerace from first.
And I'm not going to say anything about the Logan Herbert Hoover game. I don't want to jinx it right now. But Logan, you're right. They're starting to hit their stride. Maybe that loss to Nitro woke them up, and hopefully Logan can complete their mission to get their third straight state championship.
Here's the thing: the Logan Herbert Hoover game is, the Logan Winfield game. One thing that Logan didn't do was take advantage of the extra base runners. They're doing a good job. They've got 5 hits in this one as Messer swings and misses at the full count offering, and man is retired. We'll get back to that point about Logan in the top half of the 6th. So we've played 5 innings from William Tootie Carter Field. The Hillbillies played at a run without the benefit of a hit, and they trail 4-2 as we head to the top of the 6th. This is Man High School Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Top of the 6th inning, and a leadoff double off the bat from Xander Alera, the first baseman, as he was able to line it over the head of Lucas Haney out in right field, and that is the 8th hit of the contest for the Charleston Catholic Irish, and the 2nd hit for Alera.
And right now, this is a good start for Charleston Catholic in this inning. They get a leadoff double, and Tyler Brown, who's got an RBI in this game, coming to the plate, and he would love to have another one to add that running cushion for Charleston Catholic.
Pitch outside for a ball, 1-0 the count. Brown 1-for-1 RBI single back in the 4th. He was hit by the pitch in the 2nd inning as Messer, working his 6th inning, delivers inside, and it ball 2-0 the count to Brown. Charleston Catholic, 4 runs, 8 hits, 3 errors, 5 runners left on base for man. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error, 4 left on for the Hillbillies. Pitch is on the inside corner for a called strike. 2-1 the count to Brown.
Good placement there by Braxton Messer. got that one on the inside, froze Brown, and this will be a big strikeout right now for Braxton Messer to get strikeout number 4 on the contest.
2-1 is up high for a ball, and the count runs to 3 balls, 1 strike.
And just like that, Charleston Catholic is another walk away from giving up, for getting their first 2 batters on leadoff.
Pitch called, strike, 3-2 the count. And if that was to happen, Daniel, that would be the first time in this contest that the Irish have got the first 2 batters to reach base, as they've pretty much small-balled man in this contest. That pitch swung on, hit down left field line. Aggins will give chase, but it will push out of play. So the count remains 3 balls, 2 strikes.
And this is, we've seen this in this game before. Messer got into some jams, early jams, and even where he had 2 runners on and 1 runner in scoring position, he got out of it. So Messer, he's really done a good job only pitching 83 pitches in this contest.
Pitch will hit Brown, and he'll take his base. And for the second time this evening, Brown is hit by the pitch.
And now that has 2 runners on base with Connor Jarvis, who got a single back in his last at plate in the 4th inning for the Charleston Catholic Irish.
27, Connor Jarvis.
Jarvis 1 for 2, that RBI single in the 4th, as Daniel mentioned, and he lined out to, well, he didn't line out. He hit a hard line shot right back up the middle that Messer was able to knock down and throw over to first in time to get Jarvis back in the 2nd inning for the final out. Jack Daniels out to talk to Messer, and the Irish having a conversation themselves over there, base runners and the batters, with the third base coach. And Daniel, at the spot here, your number 9 guy in lineup, the top of the lineup, due up. I think, basically with me, the coach in me says expect a bunt here from the 9 guy to protect against the double play, move the runners up to 2nd and 3rd with the top of the lineup due up, and Blades in the on-deck circle.
Absolutely, and you go look at Charleston Catholic stack today, 6 out of their 9 hitters has actually made contact and got base hits against Messer today. So just like what we mentioned back in the pregame, Charleston Catholic can hit the ball, and they're proving it today against man.
First pitch swinging is a foul ball onto the Little League field, so 0-1 to count. Jarvis had a healthy rip on that. You also look at it, Jarvis has 23 RBIs, so they feel comfortable turning him loose with the bat. That pitch swung on. You see why. It's hit into center field. Miller will track, make the catch, tagging at 2nd, going up to 3rd as the throw's cut off, and sliding in there safely is Allaire. So the flyout results in out number 1. Runners at 1st and 3rd as Brown holds it first.
Back in the Irish, the shortstop,
Luke
number
Blades,
16.
the leadoff guy, the shortstop.
I got what you mentioned when he could lay down the bunt, but like you said, this is what Charleston Catholic can do. They can hit the ball, and they hit it out to center field Colton Miller. This is why this team has so many RBIs on the year. It was because of situations like this. When they get on base, they can hit the ball and move them over with only 1 or 2 out or even no outs on the board.
Very nearly a balk by Messer as he went to start his windup, and he was ready to pitch. Jarvis asked for time. He didn't get time granted right away. Messer didn't throw the pitch, so I was worried that might be a balk. But Coach, home plate umpire Mike Baisden will grant the time, and now pickoff attempt is an errant throw, and that will allow Allaire to score on the E1 to make it 5-2 Irish.
That's just not what you wanted for man. I know they wanted to maybe try to get him picked off in order to get the big second out there, but when you do that, you just made a quick and indecisive throw over to Caden Dickerson, who just couldn't corral that ball, and Charleston Catholic takes advantage. They get that 3-run cushion back here in the bottom of the fifth, or top of the 6th, excuse me.
Second error of the game for the Hillbillies, both of them coming on the throwing variety, as the first pitch is in there for a called strike. 0-1 to count. 0-1 on the way, and swung on and fouled out of play. 0-2 now the count to Blades, who is 1 for 3 with a pair of flyouts to left field and a single and a run scored as well as a stolen base back in the third.
And just like I mentioned, Charleston Catholic, he's one of the 6 hitters that made contact and got base hits for the Irish, and he'd like to continue that in this game.
Pitch backs Blades off the plate, inside for ball 1-2 the count, as Charleston Catholic with a runner at first base. Here in the top of the 6th, 1 run in, they lead 5-2. Pitch on the way is a ball that goes outside, comes back over the heart of the plate at the last minute. Be called ball 2, as late break on that pitch. Messer wasn't able to get it.
That was just close, and we got a score update. Top of the 6th, Logan trails 8-1 to Scott in softball.
Pitch swung on, popped up. Miller comes running in. Now he's got to make a chase. They'll have a play at second, as they do get the runner, Brown, who had to hold up to make sure the ball was caught. So it'll go down as a fielder's choice. 8-6 on the play. Really nothing Brown can do on that one.
No, there is nothing you can do on that one. That ball just barely dropped right in front of Colton Miller. And just good awareness by Colton Miller and Bo Thompson, able to get him out. And Brown, I mean, he was just caught in no man's land there. But maybe if that throw was just a little bit, just a second late, Bill, he would have been there at second. So that's the big second out with a runner at first. And that brings up a dangerous Gannon Morris.
Runner takes off for second. The throw down is not going to be in time, as Blades is able to slide underneath the tag of Gavin Klein. The throw was there in plenty enough time to beat the runner, but at the last second, the ball skips off the infield grass into the glove of Gavin Klein, and as Klein's got to field the hop, that allowed Blades to slide in with his second stolen base.
And from last year's graduation to Preston Blankenship from Man, they had a hard time finding the catcher, and the catchers they've had have done a really good job for Man this season.
The second pitch is outside, 2-0 the count, as we do have Preston Blankenship up here in the box with us. He's visiting these hillbillies. He was in the dugout earlier. That pitch is called strike, 2-1 to count.
Yeah, I saw Preston Blankenship here. I had to give him a good shout-out. Great baseball player for Man High Hillbillies. Glad he's doing good after his high school career. Right now, 2 outs on the board. This would be a big out for Man if they can get Gannon Morris out in this inning.
2-1 pitch on the way. Outside, 3-1 now the count.
Just misses outside, and good grab by John McCoy to let that try to get that ball from not getting away from him and moving the runner Blades over to third and get in scoring position. But right now, Messer needs to settle in and get Morris out.
Pitch on the way, swung on, hit in left field. The left fielder goes back, then comes in and makes the catch. That's Aggins for the final out of the 6th inning. So we'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Irish plated a run. On 1 hit, there was 1 error, and they left 1 runner stranded. Bottom of the 6th we go, 5-2, Charleston Catholic leads Man. This is Man High School Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Bottom of the sixth inning, Bo Thompson leads off for the Hillbillies. Fouls first pitch out of play. 0-1 to Thompson. Bill Lusk, Daniel Miller with you from William Tootie Carter Field for high school baseball on WVOW. Hunter Gibson, our studio engineer. Thompson swings at the 0-1, sends it into center field. The center fielder started back, now moves to his right, and Gage Tawney will make the catch for out number 1.
And again, for Charleston Catholic, they got into this rhythm of getting the first runner out, first leadoff runner out, as Maine only had one leadoff runner to get on base, and that was Bo Thompson in the last inning, as this time he flies out to center fielder. And now John McCoy, who is 0 for 2 today, would like to get things started in this inning to try to cut back into this lead and get a comeback going against Charleston Catholic.
McCoy takes a pitch for a strike, 0-1 to count to McCoy, who is 0 for 2. Strikeout in the second and a fly out to third. Back in the fourth pitch outside for a ball, and the count evens up at 1 ball, 1 strike.
And how big would this be for John McCoy if he can go homer on his last regular season game here? As Jarvis gives him one, he can do it.
Pitch swung on, fouled out of play, so the count now runs to 1 ball, 2 strikes to McCoy, who looks to get aboard here. Give Man a 1-out base runner, bring Caden Dickerson to the plate. Man needs to get a couple of base runners here and roll that top of the lineup back around in the 7th. Pitch outside. Now the count goes to 2-2.
Just barely missing out there from Jarvis. And McCoy's got to be careful. He can't take anything close, as this umpire has been consistent with his strike calls all game.
Pitch swung on, hit to short. Shortstop, who's been pretty active, not Blades. Fields throws over in time to Allaire for the second out. 6-3 on the put out if you're scoring at home with us.
And now that brings up Caden Dickerson for Man. And Caden Dickerson is tough for these Man Hillbillies team. He's been a solid first baseman all year. He's had some balls go past him in this game, but that never rattles Caden Dickerson. If he's trying to settle in and just get something going here in the bottom of the 6th against Charleston Catholic.
First pitch, Dickerson outside for a ball, 1-0 the count. He is 0 for 2 in the contest. He flew out to first base back in the second inning and lined out to third back in the 4th. He fouls that pitch off, 1-1 the count.
And Dickerson, like you noticed something, when last year when Man lost Brady Hall Montgomery, a solid first baseman they had on that state championship runner-up team, Dickerson stepped in and had big shoes to fill, and he's done a good job doing that with the graduation of Hall Montgomery.
Swings and misses at that offering. 1-2 now the count to Dickerson as he's back in the box and awaits the 1-2 from Jarvis. Here it comes, and it is swung on and hit in the hole between third and short, and it's a 2-out single for Dickerson, his first of the evening, and Hillbillies have a 2-out base runner. The batter, Hunter Gibson, the designated hitter, 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts.
Our favorite Hunter Gibson, he's in the studio or he's batting. We're playing for the Hillbillies. Now he's coming up to the plate, and he's got another opportunity to try to keep this inning going, getting some base hits. As we got a pinch runner coming in for Caden Dickerson. That's going to be Landon Cantrell coming in to run for Caden Dickerson, as they're going to put speed on the base pass with Hunter Gibson. He can hit the ball. If he can hit one in the gap, that could score maybe Cantrell.
And the throw down as Cantrell steals second. And as the pitch was a ball, it actually, I think it got away there as I was writing Cantrell down into the sub position in my scorebook and looked up, and he was moving into second base, and we'll see the catcher stand off to the side. So I don't know if it was a straight steal or a pass ball wild pitch, but nevertheless, Man has a runner in scoring position for Gibson, and this would be a big hit if he can get through. And he swings and hits one into center field. The center fielder, Tawny, is over there, and he'll make the catch on his horse as he calls off Brammer, the right fielder, for out number 3. And that will be it for the Hillbillies in the bottom of the 6th. They get a base hit but leave a runner stranded in scoring position. We'll head to the 7th inning. It is Charleston Catholic 2 and Man 5. This is Man Hillbillies Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Top of the seventh inning, 0-1 pitch. Jonah DeCoco grounds out to Cam DeRace at third base for the first out. And Ranson, the batter, Zayden Ranson, the catcher, having a pretty productive evening himself. 2 for 3 with an RBI, a pair of singles for the Charleston Catholic Irish. And the pitch is outside, and it'll even up at 1 ball, 1 strike. As Charleston Catholic leads man 5-2, and pitch number 101 coming from Messer, and the pitch popped up in left field. We'll see who calls it. Jace Agins makes the call at the last second and has to make a sliding catch out in left field for the second out. So out number 2, Jeff Reynolds, the batter. He is 0 for 2 with a fly out, center strikeout, and a walk.
And that's a big strikeout there, a big out for Charleston Catholic. Get the Coco on a ground out, and then Ranson on a fly out. If they can work Reynolds here, man could be in good shape going into the bottom of the 7th.
Foul ball to the right side and onto the Little League field, 0-1 to Reynolds as he's looking to get aboard for the second time. He walked back in the 4th and was erased on a fielder's choice. 0-1 outside, 1-1 now the count to Jeff Reynolds, the third baseman for the Charleston Catholic Irish. The 1-1 is outside as Reynolds thought about swinging but held up. 2-1 now the count.
That ball just misses the strike zone there low. But right now Messer, he's got an opportunity to get out number 3 here against Reynolds. Needs to take advantage
inside for a called strike. Beautiful placement by Braxton Messer on that pitch to back Reynolds off the plate, but catch the corner at the same time. So 2-2, 2 outs. Messer looking to retire Reynolds and bring the Hillbillies to bat in the 7th. Pitch low, 3-2 now the count.
Now the count's full for Reynolds, and this would be huge right now for Braxton Messer, who's at pitch 106. So this would be it. Even if man would go into the next innings, if they can tie this game up at 5 and go into extra innings, this would be it for Braxton Messer. So he wants to work Reynolds and get him out and get out number 3 without having to give up any more damage to Charleston Catholic.
3-2 on its way is outside, and a 2-out base runner aboard for the Irish as Reynolds walks for the second time, and Messer will have at least one more batter.
Yep. Now this is it. This is his last batter, unless he can. No, this actually, I think this will be. Even if he takes
was a 107,
3 pitches,
he could the next 3 hitters. He could face 3 more batters because they could swing at the first pitch and put the ball in play. With the pitch on the way, swung on and fouled to Gage Tawney. 0-1 to count as Tawney 0 for 3, struck out in the 2nd, grounded into the fielder's choice and scored back in the 4th, and grounded out to short back in the 5th. It's 0-1 to count. Messer a check of the runner at first. The 0-1 on the way, and it's outside for a ball. 1-1 to count.
And Messer, for this entire game, he's done a great job for the Man High Hillbillies. As if Tawney gets on, wonder who you turn to now for the Man Hillbillies. I'd have to think, Bill, it might be Bo Thompson or it could be Gerace.
Well, Gerace threw last night, so he's unavailable. As that pitch swung on, hit down the right field line, won't stay in play. Haney gives chase, and it will push out a play. So the count runs to 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Okay, I didn't know that Gerace pitched last night. I thought that was I thought Compton may have pitched last night, but other than that, yeah, it might be Bo Thompson time up for after Messer, as this is it. He's went the distance at 110.
Thompson only threw 50 pitches, I believe, in 3 innings of game 1 of a doubleheader. So he would be eligible to return today. As that pitch swung on, chopped to third. Good job by Gerace to back up on it and field it and throw across the diamond to get to Hustlin' Tawney for out number 3. So we'll head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Man trails at 5-2, and we're going to keep things right here for the time being as the Hillbillies come up to bat in the bottom of the 7th. Man will send the 8, 9, and 1 hitters to the plate. Luke Haney, Colton Miller, and Jace Agins. And we'll look to see if Haney will hit, because we've seen at times, Daniel, that Coach Mike Crosby will go to his bench to Coach Mike Crosby will go to his bench to bring in a pitch hitter in these situations. So we'll see if he does it, and it will be, looks like against a new pitcher, I believe. That's going to be Luke Blades, who was the shortstop. So Blades will come in to pitch and try to close this out. This is a safe situation for Blades and the Charleston Catholic Irish.
And they get the new pitcher in, and this is about right time. And Bill, let's go over Connor Jarvis's stats for what he's done against the Man-High Hillbillies on this evening.
Well, 6 innings pitched for Jarvis. He allowed 2 runs. They were unearned in this contest. He gave up 4 hits. As I look at my stat column, he struck out 5, and I believe he didn't walk a batter. When I look at it, he did not walk one batter. So Jarvis done a good job for the Irish. Comes in 6 innings. Now he turns it over to the bullpen, and Luke Blades trying to close it out.
Yep, and Jarvis, like you mentioned, he didn't walk a single batter, but he did hit a batter. But other than that, he pretty much been perfect painting the strike zone. Hasn't gave up a walk this entire game, and now we turn to Luke Blades to close this one out for Charleston Catholic. And man, if this is the opportunity you need, you got to get the base hit here. You got to get guys going, because this is last call for the Man Hillbillies. They don't get nothing going, Bill. It's ball game.
Luke Blades is on for his 8th appearance this season. He has a .573 earned run average. He has 3 wins and 2 losses. He's pitched in 18 and a third innings, allowed 18 runs. 15 of them have been earned. 6 walks, 19 strikeouts. As pretty much that's been the story of this Charleston Catholic pitching staff. Less walks, more strikeouts. And Lucas Haney leads it off to try to get aboard for the Hillbillies, and he'll take a called strike on the corner, 0-1 to count.
And good start right now for Lucas Blades, trying to get the first out and get one step closer to winning this ball game for Catholic.
Pitch swung on a miss, 0-2 the count to Haney, who is 0 for 2. He struck out in the third, grounded out to third base, back in the 5th. 0-2 on the way. Haney will watch outside for a ball. 1-2 now the count.
They try to get Lucas Haney to chase on that slider going out on the outside. Well, maybe fastball, trying to paint that bottom right corner, trying to get him out.
Pitch is a curveball that backs Haney off the plate and stays on the inside. It'll be a ball. 2-2 the count, as it curved back at the last second, but not soon enough to get the called strikes. 2-2 on the way, swung on, hit into center field, right at the center fielder, Gage Tawney, who had Haney played shallow, and he was in the right position to make the catch.
Good position, good awareness for the coach to tell Gage Tawney to play up some on shallow center. And if he'd have played back a little bit, that would have been a base hit for Luke Haney, and would have been a great start in this inning for Man. But good position by Tawney to get out number 1, and Charleston Catholic's 2 out away from getting the season series sweep against Man.
And that pitch is a ball to Colton Miller, who has reached base both times this evening. He's 1 for 2, singled and scored in the third, and reached on an error and scored back in the 5th. He takes a pitch on the outside corner for I do believe that was a strike. 1-1 to count now.
Yeah, that was a strike, and Blades got Miller to freeze. See if he can do it again here against Miller.
Pitch swung on and fouled, as Miller will poke at it and foul it off the screen. 1-2 now the count.
As right now Lucas Blades, he's just he's trying to work this lineup for Man fast. They want to get out of here and get this win. But Colton Miller, every time he gets on base, everything good's happened for Man. So see if he can get on.
Pitch on the ways upstairs. 2-2. The count evens up to Colton Miller, as the Hillbillies down to their final 2 outs, trailing Charleston Catholic 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th. Pitch on the way is called strike 3, and the Hillbillies are down to their last out, and the batter is Jace Atkins.
And, Bill, we got a score update. Logan falls to Scott in softball, 8-1. So now Logan will move to the losers bracket, where they will have the rematch against the Chattanville Lady Tigers, which Logan, last time they faced in the sectionals, Logan escaped Chattanville 3-2. So a rematch, and the game will more likely be at B. Orr Field. if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Logan will host that elimination game. We're going to presume that Chapmanville beat Mingo Central tonight as that pitch called strike to Jace Haggins, 0-1. Blades trying to close it out for the Irish. Pitch on the way, swung on, hit in right field. Diving shortstop, or diving stop by the second baseman, Jonah DeCoco, to get up and actually he didn't get up. He made a sliding stop and from the seat of his pants throws over to Xander Alara for the final out. Jonah DeCoco showing us a thing called glove there on that defensive stop, and that will be the final out as the Irish Charleston Catholic have defeated the Man High School Hillbillies 5-2 tonight in high school baseball from William Tootie Carter Field. We'll step aside for a quick 2-minute break, and we'll come back. We will break down this contest and preview our next broadcast of high school baseball. This has been Man High School Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. Final score from William Tootie Carter Field. It's Charleston Catholic 5 and Man 2 as the Hillbillies Daniel just couldn't get enough base runners and couldn't get that hit. When they did get runners on base, they just couldn't get him to drive in enough runs as they only scored 2 runs in this contest. But again, you see why Charleston Catholic is probably the best team in single A. They are the reigning state champions, and really to me, until somebody knocks them off in the tournament, they're the perennial favorite to go in and win a second consecutive state championship. And they showed tonight why they are contenders.
Charleston Catholic is they're just good as advertised. They are the defending state championship champions, and they did a good job hitting the ball. As Bill, from what I've had count, 6 of their 9 batters all got a base hit today. I might be wrong with maybe the fielder's choice for Charleston Catholic, but I think if I am correct, 6 or 7 of the Charleston Catholic batters got a base hit, and it just showed today as they led from the beginning. Man tied it up, or I think Man tied it.
Yeah, they got the 2-1.
They got 2-1. Okay, 2-1. My fault.
Lead. Man scored. They had a 2-0 lead. Man scored in the third inning to make it 2-1. Catholic came right back and seized the momentum right back with a pair of runs in the fourth.
Yeah, and that just shows you right there as Charleston Catholic. I've been wanting to say this all game. I finally get to say it. May the Force be with them, as today is May the 4th. It's Star Wars Day. Happy May 4th to all Star Wars fans out there. May the Force be with them today, and the Force was with them as they were able to defeat the Man Hillbillies 5-2. And Bill, this is big momentum building for Charleston Catholic. They now sweep the series with Man. Close games this season with Charleston Catholic, and Catholic looks as good as advertised. And man, even though they lost this game, you still got to be happy with them because you really played neck and neck with these defending state champions, Charleston Catholic, at your home field. I mean, it is your home field. They went out to Charleston Catholic and it was an 8-2 ball game, but still, you played neck to neck with the defending state champions in single A, and you feel like, hey guys, if you could take this momentum going into the tournament, going into the sectional tournament, you can win. Then you can go to regionals again, and you're probably more likely going to see a Wahama team. But don't count out Ravenswood on the other side of that section. And whoever you see, you're going to more likely going to have to go on the road in game one of the regionals, unless Wahama and Ravenswood was to get upset in sectional play. And this is just going to be a big momentum builder for Man going into the sectional tournament. As Bill, just like when we done our first broadcast here, it's here. Sectional time is here for softball and baseball.
It comes up real quick. I mean, you start the season, and before you know it, in the blink of an eye, you're heading into the postseason. And postseason for high school softball is already underway. Some of these sectional tournaments are very close to being wrapped up. Some of the the 4-team and the 5-team sections, a lot of the 6 and 7 teams, they're on the brink of wrapping them up as well. Obviously, we had some weather issues that postponed, the beginning of the tournaments, especially the Class Single A Region 4 Section 1 softball tournament was pushed back a day as Monday's games were pushed to Tuesday. But everything is caught back up on schedule, and looks like we will be able to get the rest of this tournament in. Again, next week, watching the 12 o'clock news today, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they're calling for rain. But Daniel, we know, being that the athletes that we were and following this sport, there is pretty much 2 dates that if I was a farmer, that I would plan my my crop season around, and that is what used to be the best of the best softball tournament out at Buffalo High School at Buffalo Putnam, and the baseball and softball postseason for for high school, because it always seems to rain on those days.
Yeah, going back to what you said about the crops.
Don't need a farmer's almanac to tell me that.
No, you don't. But again, going back to the what you're talking about planting the crops, me and my family, we've been planting crops for about 10 years now, and sometimes we never get it right because when you think, okay, this is the day to do it, it always rains and it just throws us back. But
well, see, you're doing it wrong. You should have went and found a high school baseball coach and say, when you're a softball coach, when's your best of the best? When you're going to the best of the best tournament, when is that? When is the sectional tournament coming up? Sectional and regional tournament, because I'm going to try to grow me some crops here, and it always rains on those days. So.
And I've always had this very superstition. Whenever it comes to tournament times, I always let my beard grow out. It's very superstitional about that, as I will end up being babyface most of the time, and then probably by end of the high school playoffs, the basketball regionals and sectionals, regional state tournament, and so on baseball, I look like a woolly mammoth. So it's very superstitious. As we're going to get back on the right track now.
Well, actually, in the way you want to bring that up. I mean, that's what a Stanley Cup tradition, a hockey tradition, what the players call a playoff beard. They start growing them a beard at the start of the playoffs, or once they know they're going to be in the playoffs, they start growing them a beard, and they won't shave it until they're eliminated from the playoffs. So it's kind of a little tradition. Honestly, I'll go back myself when the Blackhawks were in the playoffs on their little run to their 3 Stanley Cups in 5 seasons. I would have what I called a series beard. They would get a series. I'd grow it out. They clinch. I'd shave it, grow it out until the series was over, shave it, and start it over again. Then once, of course, they got eliminated, I just shaved it off.
Yeah, or you could just be like me. Even after the playoffs and everything done, I just let it grow out until it's almost touching my belly button, and like Duck Dynasty. But then I eventually get it shaved. As we still don't have a word on the final update between Chapmanville and Mingo Central softball. I jumped the gun a little bit. I jumped ahead of myself, but from what it looks like, if you had to go by the season series, Chapmanville beat Mingo, so it might be a Chapmanville and Logan rematch. But you never know what happens in sectional play. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and it showed last year with Chapmanville baseball. As Bill, we got a score update: 7-0. Logan leading Herbert Hoover down in Herbert Hoover in high school baseball. So, like you said in the beginning, Logan is hitting their strides at the right time, and if they are Class AA, look out.
Yeah, that game's in the top of the fourth inning. Aiden Slack is hitting for the Wildcats. They have runners on first and second. Nobody out in the top of that fourth inning. Wildcats looking to continue to plate the runs and get out of Clendenin with a 5-inning win if they can continue. Of course, we mentioned Chapmanville High School, a 10-0 winner over Mingo Central in baseball. That might have been what you was confused about.
It was.
When I said it earlier. Again, congratulations, Jacob Topping. 5-inning perfect game. I know the family real well, know Jacob well. Good kid. He's got a bright future ahead of him, and he's had a phenomenal year for Chapmanville this season. We'll see the Tigers tomorrow. We'll talk about that game here in a little bit. But you mentioned the Scott Logan Class AA Region 4 Section 2 winners bracket battle with the undefeated teams, with Scott winning that one 8-1. And give me time to catch my breath here.
No, you're good, Bill. But
the Lady Tide of Sherman defeat the Lady Bulldogs 4-1 in the Class A Region 4 Section 1 softball tournament. They will take on the Lady Panthers of Tug Valley, who were a 19-0 winner over Tulsa in 5 innings, as Bailey Hall, Kenna Justice, and Amelia Wellman combined on a perfect game in that contest. So congratulations to those 3 ladies.
And I'm going to close my thoughts out here real quick, as you look at all what's going on in regional play and sectional play, but here in Logan County, we're focusing on our county teams, Chapmanville and Logan. But, Bill, there's one team that's absolutely killing the ball this year, and that is the West Virginia Mountaineers. They are absolutely on a tear. Maisie ball is working, as J.J. Weatherholt is leading that Mountaineers. They're nationally ranked 11th, and, Bill, if they keep on this rate, Morgantown can not only host a regional, they could host a super regional, be the first super regional in school history up in that brand-new ballpark. As if they continue this, I might go buy some tickets to watch Mountaineer baseball this year.
They did host a regional not too long ago.
2019.
Lost
to Texas A&M on a grand slam.
Walk-off grand slam. Duke won the regional. And went on and was a win from advancing to the College World Series. They won, I think they went on to Vanderbilt. Yep. They won the first game.
They won the first game and lost 2 in a row.
And then they lost 2 in a row. Second game, they got no hit by Kumar Rockner, I believe it was, who I think he got drafted by the Mets, had some injury concerns. He sat out, and then the Rangers drafted him again last year. And I think he's kind of making his way up through the minor leagues for the Rangers. But
Bill,
they're ranked number 11. In order to host that super regional, they're going to have to get up into the top 8. They might have to win the Big 12 tournament. They're probably leading the Big 12.
They are. They're sitting right there at first.
So they can't. What we saw last year, they should have been in last year.
They should have
been a tournament team last year, but they kind of lost early in their conference tournament, and
it knocked
they
them
got
out.
punished for it. So they can't afford a loss like that, because you've got teams that are knocking on the door of being that regional host. So they can ill afford a loss.
They can ill afford a loss, and right now Maisie, I think he has these boys believing. They're sitting first in the conference. They're the only team in the conference that actually has over 30 wins in the season so far right now. So whatever Randy Maisie's doing up in Morgantown, it is working perfectly. As I'm going to give my final thoughts on this game, and then we can talk about our next contest. And Bill, we should close it out there. Final thoughts for Charleston Catholic is, man, Charleston Catholic came in as good as advertised. They're hitting the ball, they can pitch good, and they're very deep in pitching, and they're going to be a tough team to beat in Class Single A. For man, you got to take this as positive. You didn't win today, but you really hung in there with the defending Class Single A state champions. And if you can believe that you can believe that you can beat any team in the state, you more likely will beat any team in the state. You got to get out of your section, and it goes through Buffalo now, that with them being the 1 seed. But you never know. Buffalo could get upset. So if man can play their way through the sectional tournament, they're going to more likely see a Wahama or Ravenswood team on the other side where man's ranked in the region. They're going to end up having to go on the road for game 1. And so if they can clinch game 1, they can be in good shape to get back to Gomart Park for the Class Single A baseball state tournament. As Bill, this is now it for man. They're going into postseason play as 2 losses and you're done.
That's it. Hillbillies' next game will be that sectional game that they will host here on Tuesday. They'll take on the Sherman-Tulsa winner. Again, Sherman the 3 seed, Tulsa the 6. Winner of that game will come to William Tudy Carter Field on Tuesday evening, 6:30 start time, I do believe, is what I saw on the brackets. As update from Clendenin, Logan has added to its lead. They're now up 9-0 on Herbert Hoover with 1 out, runners at second and third, and Jaron Glick, the batter. And back to your point about Charleston Catholic. Charleston Catholic's next game is against the Capital Cougars tomorrow evening out at Capital High School. But back to your point about if these teams do get on a run and they advance out of their respective sections and their regions and they get to Gomart Park, I feel confident in saying that if that was to happen, if they were to meet out at Gomart Park, it would be for the Class A state championship, because I feel that man with the win in the sectional over Wahama could jump up into that 3 seed, and I think they're going to take on, if that happens, they will take on the Tyler Consolidated Williamstown sectional winner. And if Charleston Catholic gets back to the state tournament in Charleston, how do you not see them number 1 when you look at this lineup and their pitching staff and the stats that they have? How do you not see them number 1? I know they're not number 1 in the polls right now. Tyler Consolidated number 1, but everybody in the region would vote him. I know man would vote him number 1 ahead of Charleston or ahead of Tyler Consolidated in Williamstown. And
if you got to look at Logan's perspective, if Logan gets back, they're right now ranked number 2 in Class AA, right behind Fairmont Senior. If Fairmont Senior and Logan gets to the state tournament, again, even though Fairmont Senior has a better record than Logan, Logan has some questionable losses there. But how could you not vote Logan as a 1 seed, as they're the 2-time defending state champion? They got out of the toughest section, not only the toughest section, but the toughest region. How could you not vote them into a number 1 seed? But that is later to be dated, because in order for that to happen, both teams has got to get there.
Logan opens up play against Scott, who is number 5 in AA. They win that, they more than likely get Chapmanville, who's number 1. They would go back to Ted Ellis Field, and if they beat Chapmanville for a second time, that's 2 wins on Chapmanville's home field. When Chapmanville, they're number 3 in the state, Logan number 2, so Logan would have a win over the number 1 and number 3 team on its home field. And if that was to happen, and then they get to the regionals and they beat Winfield, who's number 4 in the poll, how do you not give them the number 1 seed? But as you said, there's a lot of baseball to be played between now and then. And as for our next broadcast of high school baseball on WVOW, it will be tomorrow night from Ted Ellis Field in Chapmanville. The Tigers, who we just mentioned, ranked number 3 in Class AA, host the Class AAA George Washington Patriots out of the Mountain State Athletic Conference. who lost a heartbreaker yesterday to Hurricane in the MSAC tournament at Gomart Park, and they were just within an eyelash of playing for that Mountain State Athletic Conference Championship. Instead, they will now face Cabell Midland in the consolation round, the third place game actually of the MSAC tournament, and they come to Chapmanville tomorrow to take on the Tigers. Pre-game coverage starting at 6:50 p.m. First pitch between Chapmanville and GW at 7 p.m. And that will conclude our broadcast tonight from William Tootie Carter Field, where once again Charleston Catholic defeats the Man Hillbillies by a final score of 5-2. For our studio engineer Hunter Gibson back in the WVO studios, and for my color analyst Daniel Miller, I'm Bill Lusk saying thank you for listening to Man High School Baseball on WVOW, and we hope you can tune in tomorrow night from Ted Ellis Field when Chapmanville and GW meet. This has been Man Hillbillies Baseball on WVOW, Logan, West Virginia's premier sports station. We'd like to invite you to stay tuned for Game 2 of the Western Conference semifinals, the Lakers and Warriors. Good night, everybody.